All right, well, this is fucking annoying. I just recorded a whole video about. Well, it's not annoying. It's actually good news. But I just recorded a whole video about how Sony was going to. There was going to be like a mandated PlayStation Network linking of your account from your Steam account to keep playing Helldivers 2, and there was a whole controversy about they said that they were doing it under the guise of to try and slow down bullying or curb bullying and sort of streamline the process for people that had been like unjustly banned and all this stuff. It was all bullshit. It was just a thing to try and zhuzh up their bottom line in terms of their concurrent player counts and stuff like that. I recorded a whole fucking video. I was halfway through editing it and putting in sort of a moderate amount of it. It would seem like a minimal amount of effort to anyone else, but I'm still pretty dog shit at this, so it was actually quite a bit of effort. So the thing now that just all goes in the bin now is that they've just put out a tweet saying that they're not going to do it. So they basically, the thing was they were going to mandate that everyone link their PlayStation Network account to their Steam so that they could keep playing Helldivers 2. That obviously doesn't sound like it's such a big deal, but the thing is that it made a whole heap of regions for players, like countries and regions around the world, locked out of being able to play indefinitely because there's those regions you can't create a PlayStation Network login from. So you would have just not been able to play Helldivers anymore. And there was some pretty soy defending of the PlayStation's decision to do this, and people equating it to how Ubisoft and EA and all that require you to have a login to play their games. The thing with that though is just that them like one big company or game studio, or it wasn't the game studio, the big distributor, I guess you would call it in those cases, them doing that shitty behavior doesn't excuse other people doing it, and everyone was right to speak out against this blowing up and turning into turning into a thing that was going to be mandated for all the players and thus locking out a lot of people. So they've just tweeted like an hour or two ago or so that they're gonna repeal their decision to make everyone for it to be mandated for people to create a PlayStation Network login. They said this is their decision at this time, or something to that effect. That's what the language made it sound like. So, I mean, I don't think we're completely and totally out of the woods yet, but the backlash on Twitter and YouTube and just everywhere where games sort of DIY journalism happens, everyone just sort of lost their mind, and all of the arguments against it were so weak. But yeah, so I mean, overall it's a good outcome. The whole video that I made is just going in the bin, so I'm just making this as like a low effort thing because it whatever. Good news for everyone else, bad news for the amount of time I wasted fucking making the first video, but them's the breaks. It was an evolving situation. The thing is, like, what does it mean? Like, I guess it means Sony are learning lessons and listening to their fan base and listening to people that were pretty vocal about the situation online. And it's good to know that if we all band together, as cringe as this probably sounds, if everyone gets together and speaks out against shitty practices in the game industry or in just media in general, you can sometimes affect change that has like a positive effect. So yeah, good news overall. Sony were really racking up the L's over the last week or two with all the Stellar Blade stuff and the titty jiggle physics and choosing to cover up some of their characters in that. But I think even that turned out to not be as bad as what it initially was going to be. Or I still think there's a fair amount of titty jiggle that's available to players in Stellar Blade. So yeah, a few hours wasted for me, but overall a good outcome for everyone. So, so we all still have Helldivers all around the world. I can still play with all my Vietnamese and Filipino brothers and sisters. Xin Chao, and